I okay, firstly, hang on. Isn't that beautiful? I hope that worked. Um, from my eyeballs, what I see is so much green, all the trees, mostly trees. I would say grass too, but it's mostly trees that I see when it's summer in Chicago. The city feels like I just see green when I look out to the west here. It's stunning. Um, I just started doing some ironing, and the thought flew into my brain. You have to believe that you're helping in order for your aliveness to build and expand and to call itself um, worthy of more life, I suppose. Like, no matter what you're doing, whether you're ironing or like cooking a meal for yourself or for someone else or whatever you're doing at work, like in your gut, you gotta, if you don't believe in your gut that what you're doing is helping, your entire system is gonna like work to remove you from the system that you're in. That's what living systems do. They try to steer themselves into a position to help the greater system that they're a part of. And if your internal system looks at what you're doing and says, this is not helpful, then your internal system is going to try and scoot you out of there. Like, it's going to make it more and more uncomfortable where you are until you can't handle it, and then the change will be forced upon you. Um, or a change will be forced upon you, I suppose. Um, but that doesn't mean that change needs to be, I don't know, what do I want to say here? External? That's not right. The line that popped up on my phone this morning was, if you can't change the thing, change how you think about it. Um, and I think that's fair. The stuff that I wrote at a-relief-strategy.com, a-relief strategy, a-relief-strategy.com, the stuff that I wrote there is about sort of starting your own private secret rebellion wherever you are without even anyone else knowing. Just like a tiny little spot that is safe. Maybe no one else even knows it exists. Actually, it might be better that way. A tiny little space where you have freedom to be wherever you are, whoever you are. And it's my experience that like that sort of bubble, once you create it for yourself, like expands until at like some number of years later, or less than that. I don't know. For me, it took like 10 years, but like this bubble expands until it becomes the life that you live. And the important thing about that is that I think it can only begin where you are. I don't think that this is the kind of thing that's possible um to force into being by moving. Like, it's possible to, I don't know. It's possible to like force yourself into change by moving to a different state or to a different job or to a different relationship or whatever. Like, that is a good way to reset a bunch of patterns, but like honestly, you have a lot of really good patterns. Like, you may or may not be quote unquote happy, but if you're eating every day, you've got some useful patterns. If you're sleeping more than 0 every night, you've got some useful patterns. If someone else knows your name, you've got some useful patterns, and you can blow it up and reset all of those. It's pretty traumatic. Um, and I find it more approachable for my autistic ass brain to say, okay, cool, wherever I am right now, like if nothing were to change around me and if were I to be in this specific context forever, what would I need to change about how I think about what I'm doing so that over time I'm a subtle but unstoppable force for good. No matter what I'm doing, no matter what spreadsheets I'm wrangling, no matter what construction job I'm on, I've done both. No matter no matter what field I'm digging, I've done that too. Grew up in the woods. No matter what I'm doing, how can I like make it a secret force for the relief of the whole system, starting with me? And to loop back to what I was saying at the very beginning, it's because like it's imperative that my internal system, my gut, be giving me a thumbs up about what I'm up to. It's important that my gut it's important for me to make choices that my gut approves of. That's not what I want to say. I mean, it's like I said at the beginning, like you got to believe that you're helping. Um, and let me be specific about that. If you don't believe that you're helping, look for tiny shifts that let you work in a way that your gut does believe is helpful to both you and the system around you. Because again, repeating the premise, if you don't believe you're helping, your internal system is going to try and get you out of there, because all living systems, like the way living systems work, is that they automatically scoot components around so that each component is in a place where it is helpful to itself and to the whole. And if in your core you don't believe that what you are doing in your job, in your relationship, in whatever, is helpful to both you and to the larger context around you, the system is going to try and move you around. And it'll work. Like it's inevitable. Like all of life rearranges itself into more helpful configurations. Like this isn't something you can permanently fuck up. Like this will inevitably get better for you and for the whole system around you, because that's how life works. If it didn't work this way, the planet wouldn't have any green on it whatsoever. So take heart. Like that's fine. But if you want to get ahead of that a little bit and make it a little bit easier for yourself to experience, get ahead of it and say, oh, let me be honest. Does my gut believe that what I'm doing is helpful? If not, like, okay, like respecting all the parameters of engagement that I've agreed upon with the people around me, respecting, the terms of my employment and terms of my relationship and everything else. Like, how do we adjust course ever so slightly so that beginning from the same place, over the long run, what you do is helpful to you and to the system that you're in? What how there's always a small adjustment. There's always a small adjustment that leads to long-term relief and healing for yourself and for the system around you. It's always possible. It's always possible. You won't see the results of that instantly, but you will feel the results of that much more quickly than you see them. Your gut will start giving you that thumbs up long before you start seeing the results externally. Although the results externally can happen pretty quickly too. It really depends on how comfortable you are, things changing quickly. That's a different subject. Look at the last couple of things I posted for my writing on that, or for some ideas on that. Yeah. You are accountable to whoever you're accountable to, like your kids, your partner, your partners, your employers, your teammates, whatever. Like you're accountable to who you're accountable to. But consider that you are also accountable to your gut, your internal knowing, and to the larger, nameless, faceless systems that you're a part of. They're alive too, right? Like the economy is alive. And it has a kind of thought process of its own. That's another longer conversation. But the point is, like, if your gut's giving you a thumbs up, great. Like, the rest will follow. If your gut's giving you a thumbs down, like, that's the thing to work on before you change any other variables. You can change other variables first, but it's not necessary. Like the other variables, like all of your other relationships, like they can remain as they are. They can remain as they are while that thumb gets flipped over from your inside gut. I feel like I said that poorly, so let me try again. You don't have to change anything about your external life before you shift the pattern of your movement and your thought in a way that gets a thumbs up from your gut. Um, uh, I hope this is useful. Take what's useful, toss the rest. None of it. If none of it lands, then none of it matters. Like toss it, doesn't matter. But um, I feel good, and I would say I feel relieved saying this out loud. Uh, I'm past that. It's not just relief at this point. It's like more good. Um, for a long time, I was just aiming for relief, and now I am relieved, and I'm aiming for more good. Um, I'm getting a thumbs up. I've been getting a thumbs up from my gut for, I mean, a long time, right? Like I started Lightword, and that was a thumbs up from my gut. It took a long time before, that kind of took over my life, but things start small, things start slow, and that's okay. That's good, actually. That's a feature of the system. That's another talk. Um, it's gonna be okay. There are far more. Let me start over. You are not the only system that cares about your health. There are so many levels of systems inside your body and outside of you that care about your deep well-being, and life will move you around until life will move you around until you start to catch on, and until you start to collaborate with that process on purpose. Yeah, I think that's where that ends. I love you.